Boom, boom, doo, doo. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to GarageBand Help Desk here on Studio Live today. Your one stop for all things GarageBand and smooth jazz. Hello, my name is Pete. This is Studio Live today, where my goal is to help you create, record, and release your best music. And one of the little platforms that we like to use over here is GarageBand on the iPad and the iPhone. So for the next hour or two, we'll be chatting about all things GarageBand. If you've got questions about using GarageBand, about how to get the most out of your GarageBand projects, or just something that's been niggling on your mind, then jump in and ask your questions. Ask away. Here live. If you're here on Facebook or YouTube, you can say g'day in the chat like the fine folks that are already here doing their thing. And we'll be getting to a lot of GarageBand stuff throughout the show. I've just finished talking to Jade over on her channel, Jade Star's How To App series. We had a super fun rant over there about all things to do with gear acquisition syndromes, about taking risks, about the new Apple devices. So much cool stuff going on there. And the big news in the GarageBand world is that we have new Macs arriving in about a week's time with the new M1 chips. We've got the new MacBook Air, the new MacBook Pro, and the new Mac Mini, which all look very exciting. Plus, we have the new Big Sur. Big Sur. You always have to do that when you say Big Sur, which is the new operating system, the new Mac OS, which everyone is apparently frantically trying to download. Just heard from Patrick at the GarageBand Guide, and he said he's been trying to request the download, but I think everybody has been requesting the download and been struggling to actually get it. So we'll see how that goes. The idea for today, as I said, I've got some questions that we'll go through. I'll cheat and just use the questions I get so I can sort of kill two birds with one stone. I can answer some of the questions from YouTube comments over the last couple of days about GarageBand and creating in GarageBand, because I've had some questions about Midi and about loops and about a bunch of other stuff. So we'll get into that. And I thought maybe we'll use these GarageBand Help Desk shows to kind of build up a song, like just show you how I work through a song idea, so that as I'm demoing and as I'm showing things, maybe we can end with something at the end. So build out a loop or build out a song. The one that you heard there at the start was an idea from my ideas folder. So if we come back over here, does anyone else have an ideas folder here in GarageBand where they store all their stuff? This is one that I had using, you can see there, a saxophone loop and a little bit of a piano loop. So they sound like this together. Very nice, yeah. And we brought in a conga, bit of percussion, tambourine, and a more different tambourine. And I don't even remember. This was for a demo I did from something else from another day. So we might be able to play around with that. Or we'll probably actually start from scratch. We'll go right back to scratch and start create a new song here in GarageBand so that we can get on into that. So that's what we'll be doing in a moment. I'm using my Logitech M590 mouse, which has Bluetooth and USB, and a little button here that I can move between my iPad and my desktop. And it's working okay, except sometimes I forget which one I'm on and I go to the wrong one. Let's say good day to the folks who are here live, and then we'll dive in. Once again, as with all the shows here on the channel, if you do have a question about GarageBand, please put the word question in the comment. If you put question in front, it just means that I'll be able to make sure I see it and answer your questions as we go through the show. Let's go right back to the top and say good day to the folks that we have here. We have Cody Bradley, who's here watching on his PS4. Hello to you. Hope you're well. Jade Star is here and is directing traffic as always, which is very, very appreciated. Hello to SM Borthwick. We got Stu Cash. We got Russ. Oop, I'm clicking the wrong buttons. Rust, we got Patrick Chandler, Tom Rochelle, if I missed you before. Stu Cash is in the house. Dr. Zonders, bonjour. I'll do all my French that I've got. Bonjour, je m'appelle Pierre. Ça va? Ça va bien, merci. Ah, très bien. That's all my French. Done. Finished. Scott, g'day to you. Andy Goldsby, Stu Cash's partner in crime, Benedict Stewart, hello to you. Redacted, g'day. Ahoy hoy to Bubba, hope you're doing well. Langston Reese in the house, hello to you. Tom Kuhl, g'day. I hope you're doing well over there on Facebook. How do you make better beats? That's a really good question. Maybe I'll make a beat today. I don't think I've ever technically made a beat. So maybe we'll make a GarageBand beat and then I can do what I've been doing lately and pull out bits and create new videos from them. There you go. Dom Thatchen's in the house. Asa BT, good to have you here, Asa. Thank you for coming on along. And coming down the list here. Don't do it. So yeah, let's talk briefly about GarageBand and Big Sur because it is related. I'll say the same thing that I say about everything. If you've got something brand new and you're in the middle of a big project and you want to make sure your stuff still works, don't update just for the sake of it. If you're between projects and you've got nothing super important or you've got a second computer, second Mac that it doesn't really matter, go ahead and update. If you don't and you don't have any reason to, maybe just wait. Just give it a week or 2 weeks. I'm nearly at the point where I'm going to update to iOS. Whoop, hit my mic. iOS 14.1 on my phone. 14.2, sorry. That's out now on my phone. I'm already there on my iPads and it's going fine. I've just saved my phone for last because I use my phone every day and I want to make sure it's cool. Hello to Deep Gravity. I hope you are well. Bubba says ideas folder is all I got. What are you talking about, Pete? Yeah, but you have some such cool ideas. Saxophone represent, getting your sax on early on. Oh dear, I think I just flagged something on YouTube. Hola to you, Juan. And I think I've said g'day to everyone. Redacted said I ordered a 16/1 terabyte Mac Mini. Can't wait to try Logic with Sidecar and GarageBand iOS stuff on Mac. Please let us know if you are ordering, the new M1 chips. If you're ordering, please let us know how you go. G'day to Sean Hurley and g'day to Mohammed. Phew, I think we have said g'day to everyone. If I've missed you, I apologize. It's not my intention. Camper Van Adventure and Tech says, Pete, first time live, but watched every video you've made. Stu from Somerset, UK. Excellent. And Camper Van Adventures and Tech, I'll have to subscribe to your channel. My folks are what we call here in Australia grey nomads. So they like to do a lot of caravanning and camping, and I'll need to find out the latest tech gear for their caravanning needs. Let's dive in and start talking things. So what about something like this from Aussie Beats? Hey man, I make beats on my iPhone. I got a sample where the beat is 96.4, but GarageBand I can only find 96 BPM. Is there any way to get 96.4 BPM on iPhone GarageBand? The short answer is there isn't, my friend. So let's come out here and we'll remove that banner. Let's come back to our device here and we'll flick over so that we can use this screen. That's working okay. So if we created a new track, so say we go to audio recorder here, you'll notice, or you'll know if you've used this before, if you go to your settings up the top here, you can go to your tempo. And what our friend here is saying that you can only go to whole amounts. So if your beat is at 96.4, you're only going to get 96 BPM here in GarageBand, which isn't going to work for you because it's going to go slightly out of sync over time. So the only way that I can suggest that's going to work for you, and let's do a bit of a, why don't we try a bit of a test run with this here, because that's what this show's all about, right? About experimenting with things. So what I might do is if we jump over to Safari, and we'll go, I did a video on this, which was actually the very last video here on the channel about freesound.org. Like you can see, it's still right there because I literally used, this is the last thing I used in Safari on my iPad. There you go. And these are the things that I was doing. So let's see if we can find a beat that is at a decimal point, because what I'm going to suggest is that we try audio stretch, because that's what this is sort of designed for. So, oops, see, now I need to go over to my magic keyboard. So what if we do loop, and let's just try and find something that is at 96.4. I don't know if we're going to be able to find something, but just to emulate what you're asking about here, we'll search for 96.4 and we'll just see if we can come across any loop. Is that searching? Didn't press the button. It's being really slow. Why is my internet on my iPad so slow? 96 BPM, 96. Yeah, see. The thing is, most people know this problem. They know this limitation, so they make sure that their beats are actually at the standard at just 96 BPM. So the problem is going to be changing it by such a small amount. But let's just find what's something that we can do. What's this breakbeat hip hop? We'll just grab this one. So this is at 96 BPM. And if we load it up, sorry, it's being super slow for some reason here today. We play and take a listen to this beat. Sounds like this. Come on, you can do it. Why are you not playing? The joys of live. We're getting no sound. What are you doing to me? It's not working at all. There it is. All right, we'll just download it anyway. So it's a 96 BPM loop. And you'd know, if you've used this sort of thing, you'd know that, it's my mouse. My mouse is not tapping things. The Safari browser, which should actually be totally fine, is not letting me actually tap things with my mouse. So we're going to download this. This is going to dump this loop in my downloads folder, which we're then going to bring into GarageBand. So if I know my magic, I'm getting better with my magic keyboard. Look at that. I can flick between the two. So that's now downloaded. What I can do is go to my track view and bring it on in. So the problem you're going to be having here is that instead of the loop coming on in nicely like we're going to do here, where we're going to bring it in at 96, because it's a 96 BPM loop, you're saying that your loop is 96.4. I'll show you audio stretch in a minute, and that may be a solution that's going to work for you. But for the moment, let's come into downloads. It is this one here, 395, etc., etc. We'll bring it in here. It's going to pop it in. All right, now we can just bring this loop in and look at that. It lines up perfectly because it's 96 and 96. So if we loop it to make it 4 bars to 8 bars, it's going to work all the way. So we play this. But what about if we wanted to change this? So let's just see if we can maybe do it in reverse. If we can change this beat to 96.4. If we can do it that way, surely we should be able to do it this way. So let's go over to Audio Stretch. Now there's 2 versions of Audio Stretch. One is the free version and one is the pro version. There's Audio Stretch, the free version that you can play around with, and then the pro, that's Audio Master. There's Audio Stretch Lite. There you go. Audio Stretch Lite, and then there's Audio Stretch, which is the paid version. Sure, you can use devices on my network, Audio Stretch. So if we bring on in, we'll import a file. Tap in the top left here. We will browse, and we'll go back to our downloads. Back down, downloads. Where are your downloads? There you are. And we'll bring in that same loop that we just got, which is this one here. So we're going to import this into Audio Stretch. This is what I suggest that you use and that you play around with. If we play the loop here. Now, we're going to need someone better at mathematics than I am, because the problem here is that we can adjust the speed here. So you can make it, if we wanted to make it twice the speed or 1.3 times, we can do it that way. Now, with Audio Stretch, oh dear. I just double tapped thinking I could actually put a speed in there, but it's only going up with speed by the 0.05s there. So is there a way, and if anyone else has used Auto Stretch more than I have, that we can actually, every time I double tap it, it goes to 0. So I'm not sure, because I've only ever done sort of major changes here, because pitch is actually easier than speed, because you'll notice here that with pitch, we can actually change it by semitones. So you get much better control with your Audio Stretch if you're changing the pitch. If you're changing the speed, it doesn't seem to be a super good way to actually do it. The other option you have is, I know it's a GarageBand show, but something like Cubasis actually works well for audio, for stretching audio, for matching it, and Audio Pro does the same thing as well. So I kind of haven't solved that one for you, because I can't. Every time I double tap that, it doesn't seem to be a way to enter a speed exactly. So even if you did the mathematics to work out what speed you needed it to be, I don't know if you could actually change it to exactly that speed. I may need to learn more and find out more about this, because like I said, I've used this before, but only to go from, say, 100 to 110 BPM or 110 to 130 BPM, and that's quite an easy thing to do, but maybe not so much here with this method. But yeah, at least check that out. It might be something that you can do and just use some trial and error there to change it, or yeah, really just try and find a loop that is a whole number. I know it's annoying. Most other DAWs have the ability to put a decimal point here. Unfortunately, GarageBand is not one of them. There you go, we've failed. First question, and I haven't been able to solve for it. Great help desk, Pete. I'm just like the real help desks in the real world, where I promise everything and deliver nothing. Not quite. Hello. We've got some more folks who have wandered on in. G'day to EmoBot9000. Going to try Audio Stretch. Wow. Yeah, it's very cool. Like, you saw the limitations there. So it's not the best for everything, but it definitely works okay. If anyone else has any suggestions there, Jade does have. Actually, Jade, yeah, if you can find the apps, if you can find another, because you used can't remember what else it was, but you did some audio stretching with something else there. Just join. What did you just answer? How to try and change the BPM of a loop to bring into GarageBand. So I showed the app called Audio Stretch. Hello to Tim Osborne, who's here. Managed to get on when you're live. Welcome aboard, my friend. Thanks for being here. So Dom Thatcher said, wonder if anyone else heard much about a 3-day fire at the factory in Japan. Apparently supplies the audio chips for most pro audio interfaces. It's got a lot of people spooked. I haven't, but that's a bit disturbing. Maybe if someone can find a link to it, we'll talk about it. But I wasn't aware of that. That is a concern because a lot of the manufacturers of chips and components that go into a lot of the gear, they're all like from one source. A lot of them are going from just one source. Let's see. We've got a question here from Mohammed. Says, is there any way of connecting a Focusrite 202 to an iPhone 11 Pro using an adapter, like a Lightning to USB Type B adapter for it? So, yes, what you will need, and I know folks who have been on these shows before can sing along with me, you will need the Lightning to USB 3 adapter from Apple. The reason you need the genuine one is it is the MFI certified. It's made for iPod. I know it's weird that we've now still say made for iPod, but it doesn't work just using your regular cable. And the third-party ones work okay, but your mileage will vary when it comes to those. So what I'll actually point you towards is I've actually got a website. I don't mention this much, but I'll see if I've updated it recently. This is always the test. Over on my webpage at studiolivetoday.com/USB, I've actually got a specific page that I'd almost all but forgotten about that has this on there. Connecting USB devices to your iPhone or iPad, you've come to the right place. So what we have here is at the top there, you've got your Lightning to USB adapter for iPad or iPhone. Can we zoom in on that a little bit? There we go. So you've got links there to the video and a demo of how to use it and where you can buy one of them. Also got my complete guide to USB drives and where you can buy those, and my complete guide to USB audio interfaces and even USB powered hubs. So what I would suggest, if you jump over to studiolivetoday.com/USB, rather than me show you again here, you can go straight into the video demo. So if we click on this demo link, that's going to drop you straight into the YouTube video from yours truly, which is my demonstration. You'll see me, there I am. You'll see me connecting multiple USB devices to an iPad or an iPhone using a powered USB hub and the Lightning to USB 3 adapter. So yeah, that's all you need. And that's what I use for all of my audio. I've got a Steinberg UR22C. So I think you asked about a Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. The only difference is your Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 doesn't have its own switchable power supply. I talked about this in a recent video. You'll need a powered USB hub as well. So as well as getting this, let's just show you the devices over here. As well as grabbing the device, which looks like this. There it is. They're in stock. Yes, it's a small victory when anything's in stock. As well as needing the Apple Lightning to USB 3 camera adapter. I know it says camera. It works for all USB devices. Trust me, I'm a professional. And sorry, I've always wanted to say that. And the other thing you'll need is a powered USB hub. I recommend this little sucker. It's called the 10DAC 4-port powered USB hub. And it's currently unavailable. But any powered USB hub will work for you. It must be powered. You don't want it to be just a power bank. It's got to be power and data. So you're looking for something called a powered USB hub, and then all you need to do is plug your USB, Lightning to USB adapter into your iPad or iPhone, plug the other end into your powered hub, connect up your audio interface, your USB microphone, your other USB devices, and you are off to the proverbial races. So hopefully that helps you out if you want to connect your USB things to your other things. Let me just close out of those pages. There we go. My Fitbit's telling me you haven't got off your ass enough today, Pete. I'm going to have to go for the longest walk in history after this show. But we got more questions and more folks to get to. Lucid Sound, g'day to you. Hope you're doing well. EmoBot9000. Is there any way to automate effects in GarageBand? Yes and no. why don't we show you? Why don't we jump in and do a demonstration of how we can do this? Why am I saying such weird words today? Demonstration. So why don't we create something in here? I said we're going to have some fun and create. I've got with me today my little fella. I've got the micro key, the Korg micro key MIDI keyboard, which is actually a nice, neat little 49 key. Look how many keys are on there. Not the best for my chubby fingers, but it does the job. We're going to plug this in, and I'm going to show you. You can't actually see what I'm doing, but I'm doing exactly what I just said to plug this in. I've already got my audio interface plugged in. That's what the audio is going out of, going into my mixer so that you can actually hear the sound. So when I do things like this and hit play, you can hear that funky beat. But what I'm going to do now is, the beauty of a powered USB hub is I can also plug in my Korg micro key, and we can record us some cool little MIDI parts at the same time. So let's do exactly that. That's why I like this longer form show, because I can just fart ass around a bit. That's an Australian terminology. You fart ass. All right, let's plug it in. I'm just going to find a USB port. I'll just be over here for a moment. I've got my 4 ports. So at the moment, plugged into my USB ports is my keyboard and mouse, my audio interface, and now I've just plugged in my Korg micro key. You can see there that she's powered up. See, this is the problem. I've got the one mouse for everything. One mouse to rule them all. So if I try to come over here to StreamYard, it won't work. There you go. So you can see it's powered up there. The lights are on, everybody's home, and this is connected up. So now, if I come back to this screen, and switch my mouse back over, it's really no more convenient than having 2 mice, I swear. We can actually add an instrument, and it should work. This is where you go, you hold your breath when you're live, because sometimes it just doesn't work. But we'll come into more sounds. Let's find something cool. Now, I just really love the electric piano. Oh, there's so many in here now, aren't there? We got the keyboard collection. Oh, I haven't been in here to find this, but I love the standard electric piano here, because you can play some like... You can play some funky stuff in here. So let's turn up the volume, and why don't we play ourselves a little bit of a sound along with this? Let's just get an idea of what the beat's going to do. I reckon something along those lines. So, all right, we'll start with that. We'll take. So what we're looking at is, we will get there. We're going to look at, for EmoBot 9000 here, how to automate your effects in GarageBand. So let's come back over here. All right, let's do something in that sort of key there. So we'll hit the record button. 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go, that's a bit of a groove, a bit of a funky groove to go along with our beat. So we got a... All right, now let's use this to demonstrate how we can automate effects. So you may be aware that to automate, say, volume on this, so say we wanted this to volume automate up and down, what we can do is tap on this one, tap our automation button, and then we get this business here. Before I do this, there is an automation bug at the moment that sometimes, as soon as you start automating it, it crashes. And to avoid losing our work, I'm going to take my own advice. I'm going to hit the little button in the top left here, save it out, and a good practice is to give your song a name. So this is going to be Funky Demo for GB, what is this thing called? GarageBand Help Desk. Help Desk. That's close enough. Help Duck. Funky demo for GarageBand Help Duck. So now when we go back in here, we'll do the same thing again. We'll tap on automation, and then we will automate. So we'll tap in the top left, jump. We can add some volume. So if we wanted to, say, bring this on up, we'll tap here to create an automation point there. We'll tap in the middle here to create an automation point there, and then we'll turn off the automation points, and then we'll just drag this one down. So what this is now going to do is slowly bring this up in volume and then stay at that volume. If we play it, listen to it. Right? Except we made a small mistake there, because if we zoom on in, you'll see the reason we got that bop at the start is we, for some reason, have another point here. So that's fine. We can just bring that down like that. And then we can just smooth that out. So in fact, we could just go all the way to the left and get rid of that point. So there you go. That's how you can use volume automation. But say you want to automate an effect, yeah? The thing is, you're going to need a second track. So someone was asking about this during the week, and I was going to show it today anyway. What you can do if you wanted to use panning automation is we duplicate this track. So we've duplicated that one. We then tap on this one, we copy it, and then we paste the audio into this second version of the track. You're probably ahead of me here, but what we're actually going to do with this is pan one of these hard left. So thanks to StreamYard, we now have, this is why stereo audio was so important. I've been banging onto StreamYard, who is the platform I'm using where I can put the comments and do the screen sharing and whatnot. I've been banging onto them for ages that we need panning, and the reason that we need stereo, the reason is I'm going to actually be able to demonstrate this and you're going to be able to hear it. So we're going to pan the first one to the left, we're going to grab this second one, and we're going to pan it to the right. So if we grab this first one, what we're actually going to do is we're going to do some crossfade automation of our panning here. It's going to be fun, trust me. So what we can do, at the moment they have the same automation curve. So if we play it, it's just going to be the same stuff but twice as loud, yeah? That's no fun. There's no cool stereo effect there. We want a cool stereo effect. So what we're going to do, we'll come in here, we'll go back to our automation on this one. This time what we're going to do is we're going to start with that one all the way down, and this, we're going to go all the way to there. So on the left, it's going to start at nothing and get to maximum volume. On the right, you guessed it, we're going to do the exact opposite, aren't we? So we're going to bring this one, we're going to take it there, and then we're going to do that. And you're going to get this kind of business here. And you already know what you're going to hear here, right? You're going to hear the maximum volume on the right, fading out to no volume, and you're going to hear that same sound with minimum volume, zero volume on the left, going up to maximum. So what should happen is you should hear this in your right speaker or right earphone, and then as it plays through the 4 bars, it will go across. Let's see if this has worked. Get it? So you can go from one side to the other. Now you can use this for all sorts of crazy nuts kind of panning. So if we again go to our automation and we add some more points in here, well, yeah, you can make it go up and down and do it like, so it wavers every bar and it does sort of some auto pan kind of effect. And obviously you got to spend some time doing this, but let's just do a little bit of this like that. Then we could add, whoa, don't want to do that. We can add some more points. So add a point here around bar 4. And then one around bar 5. Automation points get a little bit fiddly. But see that line that goes up? You can use that to line it up. Line it up on your bar marker. And then pull it down. And then line it up across on your bar marker. And then that one's going to be there. And that one's going to be there. Listen to what it does now. Not only does it look cool, but it sounds like this. So there you go, panning automation. So the other thing is, what if you want to automate an effect? So say you want a delay effect or a reverb effect that you only want on one word. Well, I'm glad you asked, because I've brought in my microphone today because I thought we might be doing something where I need some audio, and I've got my red XLR cable, which, as we know, goes so much faster than those pesky black cables. Sorry, that's it. I don't like in-jokes, but if you've watched any of my shows, you know I love red, and I joke that red goes faster. So now we're plugging the other end of the XLR cable into my audio interface. Oof. And I'm using this cheap $25 AKG mic that I got as a bargain from Cashies. I'm so proud of my bargain that I've left the $25 price tag on it. And let's record, along with this, some audio here. And what we're going to do is hit the plus button there. Slide across to our audio recorder. I'm going to tap on that one. Let's use the vocals, and we'll use the lead vocals, and we'll see if this is working out of the box. Check, check, check. Yep, audio is coming through. We just need to hit the monitor button. Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to turn because I'm using a dynamic mic, I'm going to turn my mic gain up a little bit. So we'll turn the gain up so that we can go, this is a test of how loud it's going to come through. So we're about right, but we just need to go up a little more. Because I used a condenser last time on this one, dynamic mics need more gain. So I'm just dialing up on the audio interface again. Dynamic mics need more gain than condensers. So yeah, down a little bit, because we want to sit on that input level. We want to sit somewhere between 50 and 70% when we're recording. Hello, welcome. So now I'll turn off pitch control. This is a key thing. Turn off pitch control before you record, because I'll turn this mic off. Now I'm just coming through this mic. If I turn pitch control on, there's about a half a second delay between what I'm saying and the audio coming through. So if we turn pitch control off, it's now almost instantaneous. Still a little latency because it's coming through an audio interface, but a lot better. I'm sure you'll agree. So let's record some vocals, shall we? To record vocals, we hit the record button, and then I don't know what I'm going to sing, but let's just try something. I'll turn this mic down, and you'll just be hearing me through the vocal mic. Let's give this a try. This is the only song in the world. You're gonna hear it on GarageBand, girl. What am I talking about? That was disturbing. See, this is why you plan things out. You never do things live. Don't take risks. No, 100% take risks, because you learn as you go. You learn how to do things as you do them. There's my audio recording. Let's embarrassingly take a listen to it without anything else. This is the only song in the world. You're gonna hear it on GarageBand, girl. What am I doing? I think I was listening to Girl, You'll Be a Woman, so that Urge Overkill cover. And yeah, I've got that in my head. So I think I was trying to channel my inner Urge Overkill on that one. So if we bring this back in with the rest of ours. Now, again, I'm not singing that so that you can admire my vocal performance, because it's not cool. But what we can do, let's say we want to automate some effects on this one. So we only want some delay, say, on the last word of this stuff. Here's what we do. We use the same sort of method. So we duplicate out this track. Well, got to go on the track, duplicate your track, and then we grab this one, we copy it, and we paste it to this audio track. Boom, like that. And then we just need to do some splitting. So let's say that we wanted the effect to be on this last word. This song in the world. So we want the effect to be on the word world, right? So what we do, we come in here and we split out just that word. So we'll split it there. We'll grab it. Again, you don't have to go split again. Just grab that same one, split it there. We don't want any of the other audio on this track, so we'll delete it, and then we'll delete it here. Now we've got two separate tracks, and we can actually control this individually. The other thing you may want to do, if you don't want to hear it twice, so you don't want it to be twice as loud, do the same split above so that you can remove the audio from this track. And this is actually really good for auto-tune as well. I'll tell you why in a minute. But we've split that out. We've got the two versions there. What we can now do is say we want to go nuts on the delay on this one. Let's do that. Let's come in here. We'll go to our plugins and EQ, like so, and we'll hit the edit button. We'll remove the effect EQ, and we'll add in... Actually, we've already got a stereo delay there. What am I doing? We'll add track delay. So we'll go to effects, and we'll go track echo, which is our track delay. And we'll make it, we'll leave it at a quarter note delay, but we'll remove the dry and we'll make this super wet. So we'll make this really soggy in its wetness. That sounded terrible. So let's listen to this now that we've got this track with not much reverb or delay on it. And then when it hits this word, it's going to bring in that effect. Let's hit play and take a listen. This is the only song in the world. You're going to hear it on GarageBand, girl. And again, if we wanted to do the same thing with our girl, we can do that. So we can just cut this here. That's really badly done. Sorry, I'm focusing too much on my performance and not on the how-to. So yeah, we do the same thing there, and then you can hear the same thing on this. Hear it on GarageBand, girl. And the reason that what we probably need to do is on that delay that we put on here, keep the dry and the wet there. That's why the volume kind of went down there, because we want to hear the dry signal and we also want to hear the delay. Let's just make it like an eighth note delay just to make it sound different, shall we? Like so. And then listen to this one again. Goes like this. You're going to hear it on GarageBand, girl. So yeah, you can play around with that with reverb, with delay. And the other thing I said is your enhanced tuning. So let's say that you were doing this exact thing and you had a vocal take like this. Well, what I do, I very rarely put the enhanced tuning or the auto tune or the pitch control, whatever you want to call it, on my main vocal track. But if there's one or two words, like say these words, instead of us wanting to affect them, we wanted to tune them, I will just leave that track there, grab this track, and on this one only, come into my plugins and EQ and turn that enhanced tuning on. So that way, you're not going to get that T-Pain style pitch control on everything, but you're going to get it on the couple of phrases that may need, let's just say, a little bit of pitch-based assistance to sound good. So hopefully that helped you out. And we will jump over now and see if we've got any other questions here in the chat, because I know that took a bit of a longer time. So we will continue on here. Let me just make sure everything's turned on. Alrighty, we're good. Let's go back to the chat. Sorry, I've been ignoring chat, or no, what's that word? Neglecting the chat here, because I went through all of that. I'll try to stay where I was, and then come down to where we would get up to, but we're gonna struggle. Tim Osborne says this should be your next release, Pete. It's a hit. Oh dear. You should be able to automate effect with automation, right? Just double the track like you did before. Yeah, exactly right. Just double the track. So you can automate an effect with automation. So that's a really good point. Thank you, EmoBot, for confirming that. So yeah, if you didn't want to do what I did, if you didn't want to do what I did there, then you could just leave the track the same. Like, say we wanted to do that with this, we could duplicate our drum track. And yeah, if you didn't want to do the cutting and the splitting, all you need to do is copy and paste that down onto this track, boom, like so. And then, yeah, just use your volume automation to automate up the effect and down the effect. So if we had this as just an effect, you could then use your automation and use those same automation points on your second duplicated track to completely control that effect. And then you've got technically one dry track and then one effect track, one wet track that you can do that with. So hopefully that helps you and anyone else wanting to do that. Yeah, we're going to have to establish this one, the GarageBand Girl song. Yeah, the girl. Absolutely. The girl makes it. I know. It was terrible. Like when you're ad-libbing like that, then it's too hard. But if it's amusing you, then that's good. Scott's about 5 red in. Yeah, I'm not on the red. I'm on the sparkling water with lemon and lime by Frontel. Hashtag not sponsored, because who's going to sponsor me as a drink sponsor? That being said, I was thinking, Jade, about what you said. And since I do the happy hour, if you did ever come to town, so we were talking in Jade's show about the fact that we should do some live gigs. Jade's over in Melbourne, I'm here in Adelaide, and if we did live gigs, we should totally hit up some of the little microbreweries, and we could do like a live happy hour at a brewery. That would be the most awesome of awesomes. Anyway, I thought all XLR cables were the same. They pretty much are. I just joke around because I like the color red so much. Let's see if we've got any other questions. Once again, and the volume levels move with the automation. How cool is that? I know. Like if you didn't notice that, if you didn't notice what Ed was talking about here, if you come over here, look at the automation, look at the volume sliders, you'll notice that they go yellow. So once you add automation, you can't move your volume sliders. That's something to keep in mind, because you then have to come back in to your automation and change your points there. There's ways around it. Maybe we'll cover that a bit later if you want to. But yeah, if you come in here, if you watch these as the automation goes, check out the 2 volume sliders on the left, those yellow ones. Watch what they do. This is the only song in the world. You're going to hear it on GarageBand. I can't have the girl anymore. It makes me laugh too much. You're going to hear it on GarageBand, and then nothing. But yeah, it is very cool that those move around, for sure. Sound travels faster through them. There you go. The red cables, they do better. Why is the volume 0 on one track? Why is the volume level 0 on one track? So that just changes as you go. So I think we answered that one. So that it automates the volume sliders. So it's basically as if you're moving them up and down. So see, it does its little goes up and down on the volume as the automation on the volume kicks in there. So hopefully that makes sense there. Got it? Excellent. Nice one. So we've got Yelan Dabits. I like using the click metronome. It sounds more like a beat machine. What metronome am I using here? I can't even remember. I think I'm using just the standard. This is the only song in the world. Yeah. So yeah, and if you want to know how to change your metronome sound, you can do it. If you go to your settings in the top right here, and you go to metronome and count in, I'm using the wood block. So you like the click. So the click sound gives you a bit more of this action. Yeah. Actually, I think I was using that for a while. I think it defaults back to the wood block. But yeah, you've got options there if you want to use different sorts of click tracks. Let's see, who else have we got here? Hello to Rec Rooms Fan. Nice one. I hope you're here. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Landon. Funky. Yeah, let's do some funk. When I record, hang on. When I record from the lines, GarageBand seems to capture other lines instead of the line I selected from. Any idea what I need to do? I'm not quite sure on the question. I'm not sure about the lines from GarageBand. So the tracks, you mean if you've got several tracks that you're recording to, might need you to just expand on the question. Sorry about that, and ask again, and and hopefully we can help out. Let's come down and we'll see. I'm looking for the word question. By the way, if you're just getting here, if you put the word question in front of your comment, I'll be able to find it a lot more easily, and then I'll be able to answer your question if you have said question. Let's come on down here. I don't think we have any more questions for the time being. We might have to do a bit of something different here. Emobot says, the more and more I create music, the more I start to feel limited by GarageBand, but I'm constantly surprised by how versatile it is for a free app. Yeah, absolutely. And at the risk of ranting, because I just had a big rant over on Jade's channel, yeah, totally. So the GarageBand does have limitations, and I did a whole video series on Cubasis 3 and Auria Pro where I checked them out, and they do have more options, and I have used them since, and they are cool. The reason I keep coming back to GarageBand is it just, I don't know, it just does it for me. I like the limitations. I kind of dig the fact that it doesn't do everything, and I do have to do a few little hacks and things around some of these things to get it to work, but go figure. Deep Gravity. Oh, yes, we should do a trip to the Barossa Valley and some winery. There you go. Play up at the wineries, do our things there. Yeah, add the notes for the microbreweries. Absolutely. Let's see if we've got any more. GarageBand Girl. I know. I've written my next song. It's going to be called GarageBand Girl. So Mark, hello to you, Mark says, I do use GB in iPad, but the little window top center in GB that shows the chords you're playing is an essential tool in my opinion. The little window top center in GB, is in on Mac. Yeah. So yeah, things like the arrangement window, the arrangement lane, and things that you have on Mac, they would be great to have on GarageBand iOS, but alas, we don't have them. Hello, Harry. Thanks for being here. Bubba, pitch-based assistance. So diplomatic. Exactly. Just need a little pitch-based assistance. I've got someone here in the studio, and they're not hitting the notes. I'm like, I think we need to add a little pitch-based assistance to your phrasing there, and then we'll go. And agree, I think the limitations can help us think outside the box, which is always a plus. Hello, Victor. I hope you're doing well. Any news on the iPad Pro? Also, what do you think about AUM? So if you mean in terms of news, news on my iPad Pro that I reviewed, and I probably do need to return to it, don't I? Because I did a review when I first got it, and the same with the Magic Keyboard. I probably need to do a full my iOS setup review again soon. But the short version is, I love it. I think it's super cool. I actually like the Magic Keyboard. It's not necessary, but having the iPad Pro 2020, here's what it's done. It hasn't revolutionized, but it has been evolutionary. So the beautiful part is, with the iPad Pro, every time I screen record, it works. Every time I plug something in, it works. Every time I try to do some effect or try to run a bunch of apps, it works. So the difference is, between when I had the iPad Air 2, which is like a 6-year-old iPad, and the iPad Pro, it is much, much better. It is much more reliable. It is much more robust, and it doesn't do different things necessarily because they're all running the same operating system. I'm plugging the same microphones, the same audio interfaces, the same gear in, but it's just doing it more reliably. So for me, for someone who creates all day, every day, having reliability is super important. So the ability to make sure that whenever I'm doing a tutorial and I'm doing a screen recording, it actually works. On the iPad Air 2, if I was doing a bunch of apps and app switching and things, sometimes I get to the end of the screen recording, 20 minutes worth of tutorial making, and it would say the screen recording failed to record. And then I would cry into my cornflakes, and then I'd have to come back and do it again. Now, I have the ability to do it all at once. All right, we've got questions flying on in here, so I better continue. Oh, AUM. Still haven't checked it out, check out Jade's. Jade, grab your AUM video. You did two parters. Grab the first part, link that in the chat here, because Victor, you're going to want to check out Jade's video. I'm only about halfway through the two-parter, but she goes into everything AUM related and does a complete deep dive into AUM. So go and check that out. I recommend it. Glenn says, question, when I record a nylon string guitar in GarageBand and EQ, why do the EQ settings seem to go away when I export to an MP3 file? That's interesting. So nylon string guitar in GarageBand, EQ it. Why do the EQ settings go away when I export it to an MP3 file? I've honestly never come across anything like that, Glenn. So I don't know. Is the short answer to that one. Let's come back over here. So I'm assuming, if I'm correct in what you're meaning here, I'll just pop you off the screen for a moment, that let's pretend that this beat is a guitar for the time being. So you're EQing it in GarageBand. You're coming in here and adding some EQ, like using the visual EQ or a plugin. So let's just say you've got your guitar, you've got a squeaky top end, which is pretty common if you're playing, say, fingerstyle. So you've dipped that down and you wanted to give it like a mid boost here, and you've rolled off some bass. So if you did all that, you're saying you're exporting it, but then the exported version is not having that. That's a bit weird. The only thing I could really suggest is export it as a WAV file. So make sure you're exporting directly as an uncompressed WAV file straight out of GarageBand, and see if that does anything, if it does anything different. But and just to check the effects, maybe put because it might just be that you're hearing it more in GarageBand than you are out of it. So I'd test it by putting a delay or a reverb that's really, really obvious and exporting, and see if that works. And if that does the same thing, then yeah, there might be some sort of problem. And my solution to all problems GarageBand related is related to my t-shirt, which is the GarageBand Users Facebook group. So if you head over to Facebook and you check out the GarageBand Users Facebook group, there are a lot of people over there. And the thing is, I'm only one person. I've had some experience with GarageBand and I've come across a lot of the problems, and I know how to do a lot of the things, but I don't know everything. But the folks collectively at the GarageBand Users Facebook group do. Or at least will get you a lot closer to knowing everything than I do. But no, thank you very much for your question. Sorry, I haven't come across it. Otherwise, I would definitely do that. Ecstasy. Any way to get all the guitar notes to appear? Sometimes it's so weird to play on half a fretboard. So let's have a look at the guitar over here, because I've got a few things I wanted to talk about with the guitar. So if we grab the guitar, so a lot of folks are concerned and confused, because when you grab the guitar here, so we're going to more sounds. Let's grab our classic, let's go the retro wah. I haven't played the retro wah for a while. When you've got your guitar here, you can play your chords there. If you go to the notes view, you notice here that we've got 5, 7, 9, we've got 10 frets here, so we can slide on up on our frets here. But if you've got a bigger iPad, you'll actually have more of them. And if you've got one of the iPad 12.9 inches, sometimes when you record, it'll actually do what you're saying here. It'll cut off some of the guitar there. So there should be a way around that. That should only be if you're recording in track view mode over here, then it'll do that. But yeah, it should work if you're over here. But if you're wondering about how to get all the frets, unfortunately, it's to do with the size of your device. So I'm using the 11-inch, which has 10 frets. I think the 12.9 has up to 14 frets, so you get some extra frettage. And I think even some of your smaller iPhones may only have 8 or 9 frets. So it depends on the size of your device. Unfortunately, size does matter when it comes to the size of your device here. What's a way around it? Well, there's a pretty simple fix here, and that is to play your guitar using the keyboard instrument. And we can do that. And I've showed this before, but I'll show it again. So if we delete the guitar there, because we don't want you, go away guitar. We'll bring the piano back in here and we'll play along. Here's the thing. We can actually use any of these instruments, our guitars, our world instruments, our strings, and sort of your strings. We'll explain in a minute. We can actually use these in the keyboard. So if we come into keyboard, and over here on the left, if you scroll down and go to other, if we tap on that one, then you can actually choose all of these. So not only do you have your flute, your clarinet, your oboe, your bassoon, your French horn, your brass ensemble, we've got a few strings, not your individual violin, viola, cello, but a few string instruments, your erhu and your pipa, and you've got your guitars. So if we want to find that same retro wah guitar, where are we? Do we not have the retro wah? There you go. After I've said all of that, for some reason, we don't have the retro wah guitar. How very, very odd. There you go. So we have roots rock, we have the hard rock, classic clean, and acoustic. So that one guitar, that was a new guitar that was added. So I think because it's got the wah pedal and it's got some other things built in, they've not been able to implement it here because there's no way to do the wah. So I've lied to you. Bad, Pete. But any other one you can actually use. So let's grab the classic clean and play along with this. And now, what you'll notice is we can actually go, if we change this from glissando to scroll, you can actually go all the way to the top, and you can go all the way to the bottom. So C1 is not a note that you can play on a regular guitar, but you can if you're using this. And even better, you can play, you can't really see what I'm doing, but you can play using your Midi keyboard. So any instrument that you can throw onto the keyboard, you can play using your Midi keyboard. So let's just see if we can add a guitar track to this song, shall we? So we'll add a bit of a guitar. We'll add a bit of a guitar sound like that. So if we hit record, I like that. Click better. So we add our guitar loop in there to go along with our regular loop. And there you go. So we can add that in. I'll just remove your question here. So yeah, that didn't really answer your question as such, but hopefully the vague number of tips that we threw in there for that helped somewhat. And now if we bring this back to 5, we can loop it on in. Loop it. And in fact, we'll loop these ones as well, just so that we've got a full 8-bar loop to play around with here for the rest of the show. I don't think this is going to be anything that's going to be releasable or usable, but and the cool thing is, of course, even though we're using the guitar here, it sounds a bit cruddy because of the power of AUV3. I'll just throw a bit of an extra tip in here. We can actually come in here and push this through a decent amp. So we can come in here and grab something like the free Nembrini Crunk V2, and we can crunk this sucker up. I think I'm already on your mailing list, Nembrini. That's a bit weird. All right, let's come in here. We'll go to the factory presets, and if we want a bit of a crunchy sound, we can go with this. Sounds like this. Yeah, so again, it would take some tweaking and some playing to get it to sound exactly as we wanted it to. But yeah, you can see that. And the beauty part of that is, say that we go, actually, don't want the guitar. I think that actually sounds a bit crappy. What we can do is actually go back and change the instrument. So you can't do this if you've played it in a guitar. But if you play it in the guitar using the keyboard, you can come back and change it into anything. We can change it to one of our Alchemy synths. So say we wanted this to instead be one of our Alchemy pads, the Analog Silk, which I kind of enjoy. Then we can make this a pad. There you go. Works better, doesn't it, as a pad with the Analog Silk. Cool. One other thing that I'll show while we're into Midi, and then I will get back to the questions, is that a lot of folks have been asking me this week about Midi notes, and when you're editing Midi, why it won't play back a note. So I thought I would use this as an example to show what happens here. So say we're here on this track 2. Now, this is going to be a bad example because I did it okay here. But what you can see there is if we zoom all the way in, that note actually goes a little bit past that one. So what people are doing is they're asking me, oh, Pete, I come in here and I chop up my loops. So say I want to chop this at bar 2 and we split it there. Look what happens there. It gives you that one. But if we go in and edit this bit, it keeps it. Where are we? I can't remember where I split it now. There. Okay, it's made a liar out of me again. It's constantly questioning my knowledge. We'll try a different. We'll try a different version of this. Maybe they've added something that made this smart enough to actually do it. We'll undo that. But yeah, sometimes when you go across there, it cuts the note and it cuts it off. It works it's easier to explain the other way. So why don't we come to a spot here? So you can see here at this bar 3, we've overlapped these two, right? So that one's gone there and that one's overlapped there. What you can do though is if we're trying to play it from here and we edit this, so let's say instead of coming in late on that next note, I came in too early. So I came in just a little bit early on that one. The problem that folks have is that MIDI will only trigger as it's played. So the MIDI note, there's no audio information behind the MIDI. This is just ons and offs. So the MIDI saying that MIDI note is turning on and then it's turning off again. So if we come in here and we say solo this analog silk and we played it from here, take a listen. It has made an absolute liar of me. I think they fixed this. I honestly think that they fixed this because it used to be that if you came in here, if it triggered before you started playing, it wouldn't play that note. And now it's all, I think it's fixed it because so many people got so confused by it. But it used to be that if the note started before there and we hit play, that you wouldn't hear the MIDI note. But now you are. So forget everything I just said. It looks like that's not much of a problem anymore. But if you're having issues where MIDI notes are not playing back and you think they should be, sometimes it's because they are being cut off like that. So yeah, go figure. It's not a problem anymore. Let's jump in and take a different one. Ed Zielinski says, any tips on navigating songs when you have 100 to 200 songs in GB? Sometimes it's really slow navigating. 100, 200 songs, yeah. So I'll show you my technique. And this, it's not perfect because I haven't updated it for a while. I'm well overdue for updating it. But let's come on over to, you saw before that I have my ideas folder. So here's how I organize things in GarageBand. So everything is in my iCloud drive. And if we go into GarageBand, what you'll notice here is my first folder, okay, a little bit of stuff has just leaked into here because I've gotten a little bit slack. But what I have up the top here is I have numbered folders. I've got number 1, which is my ideas folder. So when I start something new, I jump into my ideas folder and I start it in there. And I've got 47 in there. I've got my in progress folder. So these are projects I'm currently working on, as well as some random things that I need to clean up. And I've got my completed folder. So these are all my complete projects, including folders for my completed albums, songs, and EPs. And then I've got background music, miscellaneous, where I just shove stuff, tutorial songs, so songs that I've created just for tutorials. You can't see that up there. Tutorial songs, incomplete, so songs that I've just abandoned and thrown in the incomplete folder, archive versions of other songs, collaborations, and then my Studio Live Today folder there, which is my client stuff where people come to me and I'm working on their projects. So that's what I would recommend, subfolders. And if you want to know how to do a subfolder, what you do here is in GarageBand, you pull down. Why is it not working? Oh no, you don't have to anymore. Up the top here, it's right there. If you can't see them, if you're in the Files app and you can't see this bar at the top, just pull down and it will pop out. But all you need to do is tap on this one and then it will create a brand new folder. You name it, new folder of awesome, and then it pops it there. And the reason that I have those numbers in front is it just means if I organize them by alphabetical, it'll put them in that ideas, in progress, completed, and then all my other miscellaneous folders. So I kind of follow through a workflow. Workflow. Don't want that. Tap it, hold it, delete it. See ya, sucker. And that's gone. So that's my organizational tips. Who's that Netflix person? That Marie K. I can't remember her name. You know the one where it's like how to keep your thing. If it doesn't, bless it and let it go. If it doesn't make you happy, go and donate it. I feel the same way about your GarageBand project sometimes. If you're never going to do it again, almost just delete it because it's taking up space in your mind and in your physical world as well. Oh, Andrew, hello to you, Andrew Grosso. How do you record on GarageBand and change the different sounds? How do you record on GarageBand and change the different sounds? So kind of showed a little bit of that before, but let's jump back over and change the different sounds. So we'll go back to our idea, which I think I put in the ideas folder. What did I call it? Oh no. Here's a tip though. You can sort by different things. So if we tap the sort button here, let's sort by date. And there you go. That's a good tip as well. If you can't find your GarageBand project, go to your sort up the top here. If you're sorting by name, just sort by date, and then it'll put your most recently saved project right at the top. Good if you've named something and then forgotten it. So let's just show you something real quick for you here, Andrew. Different sounds. So the way that you approach GarageBand is generally you'll layer something up. So I'm not putting my vocals back in, they're staying off. But at the moment here, I've got this beat that I've imported in. I've got this electric piano part, and I've got this little was a guitar part is now a synth, and at the moment it sounds like this. And all I really do is go, right, what instrument do I want next? What does this need to build out this track? And then to add a new track, you just tap the plus button in the bottom left here, select a new instrument. So I maybe say want a string pad. So I want a bit of a cello, like to add to that analog synth. I want a bit of a cello sound. So I'll go here to more sounds and strings. We'll go with more of a modern sound here. And so we can use chords there, but I really just want notes because I really just want it to be. So I just want that, in fact, I want more of a cello sound, don't I? So we'll tap the cello on. And all I'm doing is just tapping and holding on that note. And then I'll just record this over the top. So I'll hit the record button, it'll count me in, and I'll hit it. And that's going to layer up your different sounds. So we can add that in there. You can see that it's got that cello. I just changed the note a little bit there. The beauty part of GarageBand or any DAW is that if we got that wrong and out of time, we can tap it, we can edit it, and we can actually change not only the notes we played, but the timing that we played them in. So if we come in here, I really wanted this to change a bit earlier. So if we play this bit back, so we can hit that one, and then we can move it to there and move this one back to there. So you can actually play around with your sounds. So now when we play it back, bow, da da do do. And there you go. And now I might say, oh, that beat's okay, but it's missing a bit of treble. So we want a bit of a topper beat. And maybe this time, instead of just adding an instrument, we want to add an Apple loop. So no problem. We come up here to the top, we tap on loops. We go to Apple Loops and we want some sort of topper. I happen to know that Apple have a bunch of good toppers in here. So we'll type topper in our search and hit enter. And let's just, I tapped on something and moved it. I'm just trying to scroll down. So let's just say, no, that's not something like that. We want something more like more of a funky kind of cowbell. Yeah, you know we've got to have some cowbell. Before anyone says, more cowbell, we need some more cowbell. So we can just grab this and drag it in. And so you can see how we can quickly layer up both actual instrument, like both virtual instruments, like we've got here, a loop that we've brought in here, a beat that we've just grabbed from freesound.org. We've put some vocals in there, which I totally need to redo, don't I? So we've done that with our microphone. I can plug my guitar in. I've got my Midi keyboard plugged in to play my sounds. You can really go nuts with this stuff, and it's a lot of fun. But you can start with literally just any iPhone or iPad and start layering up with this. You don't need the stuff. Just talked with Jade about this in the last show. You don't need all the gear. You just need to play around and experiment and get your stuff going on. So what was I going to say there? Yeah, so we've got that cowbell. Let's just hear how that sounds. Okay, so it doesn't really fit the song, but again, you can, if we just bury it down in the mix a little bit, just as a bit of a... just adds to it a little bit, doesn't it? So if we come here, and that's the thing, say that we wanted this to have like a bunch of reverb in it, let's just add that in, because I think this could be like a nice ambient sound in the background with our cowbell. Yeah, so it's now soaking in reverb, and we can just sit it there under our mix and gets a bit of ambience, right? And the beautiful part about loops is, say that we wanted this to be a higher sound, we can come in here to our settings and we can actually change it. So we can transpose it up. So say we want to bring it up 5 semitones, like that. Now it'll sound like this. So yeah, the sky's the limit when it comes to your stuff. So there you go. That's a quick crash course in, how do you layer up sounds? How do you just bring in different tracks and start creating a sound or a beat or a song? It really is just about listening and going, now what does it need? Now what does it need? Does it need some effects? Does it need another track? Does it need a loop? What does it need? And then give the song what it needs, and you should be golden. So thank you. Thank you for the question. We've spoken to Ed about his question. John, hello to you. Where are you, John? I was about to answer your question, and then the whole chat just went zoom. and it scrolled all the way down. So we're right up here. I found you've asked a second question. I'm going to have to go into sort of a fast mode here because I'm not keeping up with the question. All right, we've found it. Question here. Is there a way to use GarageBand guitar amps on MIDI tracks? I'd really love to use them on MIDI, but GB only seems to let me use them on audio tracks. So yeah, if you didn't do something like using an AUV3 plugin, so what I showed before using the Nembrini Crunk V2, you can do that on your guitar, your virtual tracks. But what you can't do is use the GarageBand amp sims on a guitar track. But let me show you a little tip of mine that we can actually use. And I've got a video about this as well, but I'll show you a quick demo because it'll be kind of quick and easy to do. If we come over to our GarageBand project and let's just put an actual guitar sound back in. So if we use bass because I want a bass guitar in this anyway. So you can do the exact same thing with regular guitar, but we'll just add bass guitar. So we'll give it the picked bass because I want it to be like a nice sort of low down. We'll go to notes. So I want that kind of sound, right, to go along with this. So if we hit the record button, let's just dial that in. All right, so there's our 4 bars. Again, we'll come back out here. And as you've said, we've now got this. We'll loop it just so that it's all the way through. We've now got this, and we can't actually put the actual guitar amp sims in GarageBand on it. We can come into here to our plugins and EQ, and we can edit this one, and we can add in any audio unit extension. So if you've got something like Tone Bridge, or if you're using something like the NA audio rack stuff that we've got here, or the Nembrini Crunk, or the PSA. So there's a heap of options there. But if you don't want to download anything extra, you just want to use the stock GarageBand amps, what you will need to do is once you've got your guitar dialed in exactly how you want it, so we'll just play this and make sure that this is sounding right. So we've got, yeah, I like it. So I like that tone, I like that sound. What we can now do is merge it and then add to that. So all we're going to do is tap right here on the bass guitar, and we're going to hit the merge button. This is going to convert any tracks we want from MIDI or from virtual into actual audio tracks. So we've got the picked bass here checked. We're going to tap on the merge button. It's now going to merge that down, and see how it's turned it into an audio track. It has also normalized it, which means it's going to turn the volume up. So we'll need to turn the volume down. And now when we play it, cool, yeah. But what we want to do is add it to an actual guitar track. So all we need to do then is hit the plus button here, go to our guitar amps here in GarageBand, which are here, choose the amp we want. So we'll go more sounds, we'll go to our categories, our bass guitar, and we want a processed one. We want the filter funk. Let's just see what the filter funk does on this one. So we've got that, and ordinarily you'd grab your bass guitar and you'd record it, right? You record your funky bass line over that, and then you'd be able to use that amp sim. Or we grab our audio and we just throw it on there. Boom. Simple as that. So now we have this going through our bass amp sim. Sounds like this. Right? Don't need this one anymore. Delete that. Bring it back into our mix. Now, of course, the drawback here is we can't now edit the original notes on this one, but we can actually change it there. So what you may want to do is before you merge it, duplicate it and then merge it, and then keep a version of the green track, the virtual track. If you want to change it, all you then need to do is remerge it and put it back in there. So that's another option there. But yeah, if you're completely happy with it, you can bring it on over and line it up there. So hopefully that helps you out there, John. It's a cool thing to do, especially if you don't have a real guitar, and you can throw other sounds into your guitar amps too. So don't forget, you can use keyboards, synths, any other instrument that you want to play with. You've got the options. The sky is the limit as the big bus drives past. Let's come down here. Ace to BT says, one limitation I found with GarageBand is that the acoustic drums don't have all the different types of instruments. It's missing one crash cymbal and some other variations of the sounds. Yeah, and it is a bit weird that sometimes you're playing the drums and you try to edit them and there's some... I did a video on hidden drums. I won't go into it here because we're way behind on questions. But if you search Pete John's hidden drums, you'll find some ways around how to move your drums around a little bit there. And deep gravity, there you go. You answered that in a quick question. My microphone, 2 shots of vodka, a bit early in the morning, but yes, hello. My microphone is rusty, and I have no idea how to fix it. Now, you're talking rusty on the outside or rusty on sounding? So rusty on the outside, you may need to unscrew it. You may need to get some what's the alcohol called? Propyl? Can't say the word. Anyway, you might need to get some of the alcohol stuff to actually clean it out if it's got some rust on there. But yeah, otherwise, might be new microphone time. Christmas is around the corner. Mr. Old has a question. Is there any way to pitch, edit, and time stretch in GarageBand, kind of like Melodyne? Sort of. So I showed you, if you go back to the start of this video, I showed you Audio Stretch, which is a standalone app that you can use to do that. Now, GarageBand has pitch correction, but it's very basic. So it's called pitch control or enhanced tuning, and I've got videos on that. If you search my name, Pete John's Auto Tune, you'll find a bunch of videos all about it. So hopefully that will help you out. But yeah, if you want to learn how to pitch shift and auto stretch or stretch audio, Audio Stretch is probably your best option, or you can move to something like Cubase 3 or Audio Pro, which have those functions built in. And thank you, Jade. This is how far behind I am. The question we had about AUM before, there's the playlist for Jade's 2-part AUM series that you can check out. Oh, I'm cramping up here. I need to do the stretch. My Fitbit's going to yell at me again soon. Let's have a look here. We'll come down here. If we've got any other questions, as I said before, please just put question in front. It makes it easier for me to find out. Another question here from John. Multiple questions. Sure thing. If there is. Another thing I've been wondering, is there any way to transpose keys in audio tracks or change their tempo in GB? So again, no, not in GB, and that's a common question, obviously, and a similar answer to what we had on the last one, which is... don't do that. What we had on the last one, which is that, yeah, you can't do it here in GarageBand, but if you jump out to Audio Stretch, and for those that are joining late, I'll just show you really quickly what that looks like. It's here in Audio Stretch. It's a separate app. Hang on, I'll just pop your question out of the way for a sec. It's a separate app here, and what you can do is adjust your speed, so you can go up and down. Now, what we found, the limitation here is you can only go up by 0.05 times. So you can go up 1.1 times, 1.2 times in the speed, and then if you play it back, speed it up. Speed it up. So you can import WAV files into here. That was kind of cool. I should just sample that. That sounded cool. You can bring WAV files into here, change the speed, and then export them out. You can also do the same with pitch. So say you wanted to pitch this down, make it a bit of a lower sort of jungle kind of sound, you'll get this. And again, if we want to adjust the speed, we can bring that on back. So it's not the precisest of adjustments, especially for the speed, but... Yeah, so that is an option you have. Audio Stretch can do that sort of thing. Or as I said before, Cubase, I know it's a GarageBand show, but Cubase 3 or Audio Pro can do those things. Let's come back over, see if we've got any questions. Hello, Freddie Murphy. Good to have you here on board. Appreciate you being here. We've got folks talking about cracked screens and whatnots. Hello, Bridget. Good to have you on board. Thank you for dropping on by. Hello, Paris Beauty Blogger. There you go. Enjoy your beauty blogging. I'm just saying, again, if you do have questions, please put the word question in front of that. Question for Mr. Old. Could you please do a harmonizing tutorial? So harmonizing in terms of harmonizing with different sounds, harmonizing with your own vocals, let me know if you've got more information on what you'd like to hear. Absolutely love to help you out. But yeah, let me know what sort of harmonizing help you desire, and I'll definitely try to help out. Alrighty, I just need to have a quick drink while I keep scrolling on down. Gary Hubs, g'day to you. I can only carry one or two songs at a time, no room for more. Yeah. If you're struggling on storage, that can be a problem. If you only got 16 or 32 gigabytes, you can definitely struggle on that. Uh, duh, 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 duh. Yeah. So Tom Rochelle is talking about that. So I was showing before the Midi, and it's because the note on message is at the start of the note. So you're playing past the beginning of the note, it may not play, but yeah, they seem to fix it. They did seem to. So it seems to be artificially just playing. If a note is on, instead of doing what Midi used to do or what it traditionally does, which is not playing your note, if it's already on, it's just playing the note from the start, which is going to be weird for some of your different sounds that have a different sound at the start than halfway through. But that's some interesting different processing. Let's continue and see if we've got any other questions. Question here from Russ. Russ says, if you're using three guitars in a track, should you pan them slightly left central, slightly right, as I don't use three guitars in a track? Should you pan them slightly left central and slightly right, as I don't usually use three guitars in a track? Yeah, so I normally use two guitars. So the way I normally work, if I'm working on a rock song, I'll have two guitars. If I'm using electric kind of distorted amped kind of guitars, I'll usually put one on the left, one on the right. If I have a lead guitar part, I'll normally put that up the middle, but I very rarely have more than two rhythm guitars. So I tend to go the old school method of hard left and hard right. Occasionally I'll pan sort of middle left and middle right, but not that often. If you're wondering what we're talking about there, I'll show you a quick demo, but with our current track here. Starting to get the hang of this mouse changing between devices. So if we think about these, so say these electric pianos were guitars, which would be cool if electric pianos were guitars. Check out Midi Guitar 2 that Jade showed. You can kind of do that the other way around. So if we come in here to the panning, this one's panned hard left and this one's panned hard right, right? Right? So what you could do, what we're talking about here is sometimes if you don't want that much stereo width and you've got, say, three guitars, you might have one panned in the middle. So you might double tap, might have one pan there. One may only be sort of half left and one may be half right. So that kind of keeps everything sort of more up the middle. And whereas if you pan it all out to the left on one and all to the right on the other, it means if you're listening on one ear, you'll only hear one guitar, and if you're listening on the other ear, you'll only hear the other guitar. So sometimes some producers like the idea of making sure that even if you're listening on one earbud, because some people do, that you're at least going to hear all the parts. Whereas back in the day, through the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, when stereo first came out especially, they got so excited about it, they'd pan everything super hard left and right, and they'd leave nothing up the middle and nothing even sort of slightly off to the left or the right. So, again, it's personal preference and what you think sounds best for your song. But yeah, interesting question on the panning stuff. It's something that I have to think about more and more these days as to where I put my instruments, especially the more instruments that you put in things. I don't know what I did. I'm the same way Scott got everything in the GB folder. Yeah, so I think Scott and Tom are talking about my organization tips. That, yeah, if everything in the one folder. And I was that way. And as you saw from my folders, they need a rehash. They're a bit messy at the moment. I need to do some cleaning up. Let's see if we have any other questions. Once again, if you do have a question, please do this. Please drop the word question in front of your question. It's just going to help me find it and mean that I'll be able to answer any of your GarageBand questions. We've got about 45 minutes left here on the show, so we've got plenty of time if you would like to. And if you're getting some value out of this one, if you're enjoying yourself, if you are a GarageBand user, or as we say, GarageBand curious, then please drop a like, hit the thumbs up, give some thumb love. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel and you dig this sort of content, consider subscribing. There you go. That's the 10 seconds for me. Now back to you. Bubba, I also wish the piano roll was color-coded. Wouldn't it be cool? We need some more color coding going on in our lives. All right, let's come on down. I'm catching up. I'm only 10 minutes behind, 15 minutes behind on the chat. And then it's done. It's done the chat jump. So sometimes I'm slowly scrolling down and it will do a chat jump. Let's see. All right, yeah, here I was. So the question here from Mr. Old about the harmonizing. Could you please do a harmonizing? Maybe you could harmonize girl. All right, you know what? Just for fun, because that's what the point of this show is to have a bit of fun. Let's jump back to my project and see if we can fix up these vocals. because I'm not a fan of them as they are at the moment. So I'll just pop your question off the screen. Oh yeah, and my AUV3 icons came back. They always were here on the iPad Pro, Jade. They just weren't on the iPad Air 2. So I'll have to go and grab that one and see if they came back. If you don't know about that, that's iOS 14. It took away all your icons on some devices. Go figure. But maybe 14.2's fixed it on all devices. I'll have to check on that one. But let's talk harmony, shall we? Harmony, ebony, and no, let's not do that. So I don't really like these ones, but I kind of like the whole girl thing here. So let's just you're gonna hear it on GarageBand, girl. I don't know. Do we just leave it? Yeah, let's just leave it. Here, let's just harmonize to this one. So harmony, and look, Jade knows a lot more about harmony. She was a professional singing teacher and can tell you, and someone like Dan Baker will help you with the music theory of this sort of stuff. But you're usually looking at things like thirds and fifths or octaves. The reason for that is that you're harmonizing. What you're basically doing with harmony is creating a chord. So if you know a bit of your music theory, you hit your C note and then you hit your E note, that's a third. You then hit your G note and that's a fifth. So C, E, G. In fact, why am I trying to explain it when I have a keyboard in front of me? So if we go to the electric piano here and I hit where's my volume? Oh, because I'm not in the actual instrument. Come on, GarageBand, get your stuff together. So well, it's really quiet because it's at that point. See, this is the problem with automation, is that we need to go to a point in the track where the volume's louder. There you go. There's your C, there's your E, there's your G, and there's your high E. So you go la, 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 la. And that's your classic sort of harmony. You can, of course, have fourth harmony. La, la, la. So that's a fourth and a sixth, but that basically is creating a different chord because now you've got an F chord. You've got C, F, A, C, E, G, C, D, F. So you can create different chords, and all harmony is creating a chord with different notes that complement each other. So if we come back to our vocals, let's just listen to this horrendous vocal because I liked it, then I hated it, and now I'm back to liking it again because it's too fun. So if we listen to my girl vocal, you're going to hear it on GarageBand, girl. So if I wanted to create a vocal, you're going to hear it on GarageBand, hear it on GarageBand. I'll probably actually go like hear it on GarageBand, girl. Yeah, let's try and do a bit of a bass vocal just for fun to do this. So you're going to hear it on GarageBand, girl. We'll try a bit of that action. So we'll duplicate it out. We'll grab this one. Are you ready for this? I'm sure not. Check. 1, 2. Why is that not working? Because we probably don't have ba, ba, ba. Don't have the microphone on. Click. Ba, 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 ba. Let's just do a quick practice. You're gonna hear it on GarageBand, girl. You're gonna hear it on GarageBand, girl. Let's go with a bit of that, shall we? This is the only song in the world. You're gonna hear it on GarageBand, girl. So that's the sort of harmony that I would start working on with this. So I've actually gone. So what are my notes? It's hard when I'm singing to think of the notes at the same time. So I've got like a G sharp, A sharp, A, B, A sharp, A, R, F. So what I'm doing on my harmony is I'm down here on the C, D sharp, and F. So if we play these together, hope you're having fun with this. What am I doing? Then we can play them together and you get a bit of harmony. So if we just play the two vocals together, get a bit of this. You're going to hear it on GarageBand, girl. So let's bring it all together and play it. Oh, this is fun. So we play the whole track. We've now got our harmony vocal in there. This is the only song in the world. You're gonna hear it on GarageBand, girl. I don't like those delayed bits at the end anymore. So now that we've showed you how to do that, I'm just gonna bring those back into here. Oh, that didn't work so well because it didn't line it up. We need to zoom in. There you go, another tip there. Zoom on in and make sure that if you're moving things, oh, see how quickly it just moves like that? It's a pain in the butt. Undo. We'll have to use the copy-paste method instead. Cut it from there. Line it right up back to the spot that it's come from. Bonk. Oh, it's come from... see, I've done the problem here. Sometimes if you've got the snap to grid off and you do a cut, you can never put it back in exactly the right spot. So don't do that. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. This one should be a bit easier. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Anyway, we'll get rid of that. We'll get rid of that effect track because we don't want that in there anymore. So there's harmony. There's your basics guide to harmony. But please go and check out someone like Dan Baker who explains all the stuff. He explains things like the circle of fifths. He explains different harmonies, thirds and fifths and sevenths and things, and diminished and augmented and all of that goodness in a lot more detail. But there you go. I hope you're happy, Mr. Old. I can do some carbonizing. All right, let's continue on. Deep Gravity says, only Pete can throw together a track for a help desk and it's good enough to use as a promo. Lyrics aside, maybe. But yeah, gosh, gonna have to work on those lyrics, aren't we? Hello to Victor Isbells. Good to have you here on board, my friend. Question here. Is there any way to record two different mics on two separate tracks at the same time? I need to record a piano and I want to record a close mic and a room mic at the same time. So yes, you can. And in my setup here currently, I've only got one mic and one mic cable, but I am using my Steinberg UR22C. So instead of actually doing it, I've got a video here on the channel. If you search Pete Johns multi-channel or Pete Johns multi-track, I show you how you can use something like a 2-channel interface to record 2 mics at once, or a mic and a guitar, or I actually use my Steinberg UR44 in one of my videos to record 4 at once. I recorded 3 mics and 1 direct guitar, stereo pair, single mic, and a guitar direct input at once. So it all comes down to how many inputs are on your device. So I'll show you a couple of things real quick. Oh, I just scrolled down the chat. Again, the chat. I need a way to freeze the chat here in StreamYard. I think I need to reach out to StreamYard and say we need a chat freezing function. So you noticed here that I recorded these vocals, and if we come in here to the vocal, if we hit the microphone icon and you come in here to the vocal, see how this is on channel 1. If I tap that, you'll see here, because I've got a 2-channel interface connected, I've got input 1, which is the left combo jack, and I've got input 2, which is the right combo jack. If I select stereo, it's going to record both of those inputs down to one stereo track. Don't recommend doing that. Even if you're recording stereo, I would set one track to input 1, a second track to input 2, and record them as both mono. That way you can completely change and manipulate the sounds after the fact. So virtually never use stereo unless you are legitimately recording a stereo source. And even then, you get more flexibility putting left, right, and then you can mix them yourself. Anyway, that's how it looks there. What I'll do is if we... keep doing that, don't I? I'll come back here to the PC, and if I bring up, not that one, but this one, so this is where we were before, I'll show you. So the device I use, if we go to audio interface, USB audio interfaces, if I go here to this, what does this link go to? There you go. So here's all your audio interfaces. So if you were using that, this is a PreSonus. I actually use the Steinberg UR22C, which isn't on their front page here. There's the Steinberg UR12. There's a 4-channel. So we'll just use this as an example. Say you were splurging. Say you go to studiolivetoday.com/gear and you see, oh, there's only 3 of these Focusrite Scala 18i-As in stock. And you want to record 4 different microphones. Say you're a drummer. You want to record 4 different microphones at once. All you need to do is plug each microphone into each of these 4 different ports. And then in GarageBand, just as we showed you before, you'd go channel 1, microphone 1, input 1, channel 2, input 2, track 3, input 3, track 4, input 4, and you'd arm them all together, which I'll show you now, because there's one more thing that you need to know about, and that's how to arm multiple tracks at once. So if we come back, flick back over here to my iPad, if we come back over to here, let's just pretend, I don't, but let's pretend we have a second microphone, and we're going to duplicate this out, and we're going to record on this track and this track with 2 separate microphones. What we need to do is make sure that in our microphone settings here, this one is on channel 1, which it is, and then we would need to make sure that on our second microphone here, we go back into the mic settings, and this one is on channel 2. And now that we have 2 different microphones on 2 different channels, we can do something pretty cool. We can actually use the record arm buttons here to arm them both. So see how they're both recording now? So we can even monitor them both. So you can put the monitoring on for both channels. Now, if I had two microphones, one plugged into left, one into right, these would both be being monitored here in the audio of GarageBand. But just so that you can see what it looks like, if we then, say, wanted to record a second verse of this song, and goodness knows why we'd want to do that, on two microphones in stereo, we can now hit the record button. You can't really see it that well, but the record button actually has a little... Oh! I slipped. Actually has a little number 2 underneath it, which means it's going to record to 2 tracks. And look what it does when we hit record. GarageBand Girl. Is that counting? Check it. The other reason that this is super cool, so I didn't record anything there, otherwise you would have seen the 2 waveforms of your 2 different bits of audio. The other reason that this is cool, and I use this when I'm recording guitars. Even if I'm just recording one guitar, I will set up a dummy mic track, because how much better does it look recording like that, where you can see the whole track view, compared to if we were recording one channel? Take a look what it does. GarageBand Girl. Right? It takes away your ability to see the tracks, and I like to be able to see the tracks. So if you have a 2-channel interface, even if you're never recording 2 things at once, the advantage is that you can pretend you can trick GarageBand into thinking you're recording 2 channels, and then you get the very nice 2-channel view right here on your track view, rather than it going over to that other window. Pretty insane. The other thing that you can do is you can actually also arm a track like this. Now, if you arm a MIDI track at the same time, actually, what's another? Let's add a new MIDI track. So I'll show you what we mean. So we'll just add another keyboard instrument here. This is why I love having audio interfaces so much. They just give you so much flexibility. So say we wanted the lead sound, 80s sync lead. That sounds kind of cool. I want to kind of bring this in here. So say that we wanted to record this 80s sync lead into the second half of our song here, starting from there, but we also wanted to record vocals at the same time. Well, yeah, you can queue all this stuff up. Look at this. Queue up your 2 tracks, and because your third track is a virtual track, see how it's also recording? What we're going to do now, it'll look a bit different because it has to go to the screen to record this MIDI track. But if we hit record now, we've got a little number 3 under that sucker. We're recording 3 tracks. We'll hit that one. GarageBand Girl. There you go. So there, again, we've recorded 3 tracks in there. How cool. You can even see it there. It's got the little blue track there, little green tracks behind there. And then when we come back to here, you'll see that it has done the deed. It is recorded there. Why didn't it record? It only recorded that one there. That's weird. Did I not have those queued up properly? I don't know what I did there. Anyway, I've done it before and it does work, I think. So why did it do that? Let's just undo that and redo it. Tap and hold, redo recording. Oh, that was a bit weird. There's a few bugs in the machine, I think. I haven't done this for quite a while, but yeah, I've definitely done it before when I've done a vocal. So when I recorded a song called Things Have Changed, I actually recorded it exactly like that. I recorded the vocals on one vocal track through the mic input on my audio interface, and I recorded the piano through. Here's the other cool thing. You can even use through audio unit instruments. I used the Ravenscroft 275 and recorded using that. Anyway, I'm nerding out a little bit here because I love this stuff. I love it so much. Let's continue on here, and we've got some more questions. What have we got left? We've got about 30 minutes left. Get those questions in, but that was from our friend Victor, so hopefully that helped you out, Victor, with your question about recording 2 different mics on 2 separate tracks at the same time. You'll need yourself a 2-channel interface, and if, like Victor, if you don't have a 2-channel interface, jump on over here, studiolivetoday.com/gear. All of my recommendations are there, and all of them are tested and work with your iPhone or iPad. So you can be guaranteed that they are class compliant, meaning they'll work. Question from Alistair. Has anyone noticed automation not working on iOS 14? I haven't, because I just used it and I just demoed it. I've used it here. Now, there is a problem. There's a known bug that was on iOS 13 as well, which is that sometimes if you come into automation, let's see if we can make it happen. I don't really want to keep this, but I want to live by my own advice. Let's save by going out. So here's the first thing you do. Always save out by closing your project and then come back in before you touch automation, because there are some bugs in here. Tap on that one, tap automation. Sometimes as soon as you grab one of these and go to move it, it'll crash. Now, it doesn't do it for me because I'm live here, and if it did it, it would like when you go to the mechanic and there's a rattling sound in your car, it's never going to happen when you're right there. But one of the things you can do to fix this or to make it happen less is to turn on and back off again. That even if you're just moving automation points, come up to the top here, turn it on, turn it back off again, and that should help you. So if you are having issues with automation in iOS 14 or 13, hopefully that helps you out. Alrighty, let's continue on here. Truthing and trolling. Thank you. Appreciate you. Can't stay, just drop by to say to the like and say thanks. You're very welcome. Thanks for being here. Question, what is a phaser? Question from Shadow Clan. A phaser is pretty cool. In fact, let's add a phaser to that last little lead instrument that we created, shall we? So we can show you what a phaser is and what it does. Now, all of the standard stock plugins that we have here in GarageBand, I'm going to have to remove your question or we won't see the phaser. All of the stock plugins, I've got videos on these. So if you search my name, Pete Johns, and the name of the plugin or effect, you're going to find what you want. You're going to find a video about it. So keep that in mind. But if we come in here to this one, this 80s sync lead that I just created, which sounds like this. Let's say we want to add a phaser to this. It already has a kind of phasey effect, but let's add a phaser. So if we come in here, there's a couple of different, don't want EQ. Yeah, away. There's a couple of different things we can do. So if we hit the plus button, let's go step by step because I want to make sure we see this. So I've got my track. There's my track selected. We hit this button here, which is your plugins and EQ, your mixer icon, and then we go to your plugins and EQ. If we tap the edit button here, we've got all these slots where we can add effects. So let's show you a phaser. Now we have a micro phaser, which is a type of phaser, and we have a flanger, which is sort of more of a subtle kind of phaser effect. So let's go with the micro phaser first. What the micro phaser will do here, you can see we've got the LFO rate here in hertz, so we can drive this from low to high, how much feedback that goes in there, and then the intensity of the wave. So let's take a listen to this, and we'll dial these in, and we'll show you what each one of them do. So let's do the LFO first. We'll play this one. That's kind of the speed of the phasing going on there. We've then got the feedback, which is how much of it. Let's take a play with that. Everything from pretty subtle to pretty extreme. And then the intensity. So let's play with that one. And part of a phaser or a flange effect is that stereo phasing that you hear. So a phase is basically where it goes in and out of phase. And that's why you hear it. And if you visualize it, it's kind of like those waves that are doing a bit of that action. So phasers can be super cool. The other version of a phaser is a flanger, and flangers can be equally cool. So these are cool things to add a little bit of color to your mix. In fact, a flanger might work well on this actual lead instrument. So let's play around with this and leave it here. Again, similar sorts of things that we can do here. So let's just dial this phaser in. Actually sounds pretty good with that intensity up quite high. Let's just try that again. Cool, right? Let's bring it back in with the rest of our track. Good suggestion. I like it. There you go. That's what a phaser does, and that's what it is, and how you can use one in your GarageBand projects. Hopefully that helped you out. Ed Zlitsky says you can shift audio up and down by semitones under track settings. So you can for audio loops, you can't for audio recordings. Let me just show you this one real quick. And I know it's a shame. It's a bummer because it would be cool if you could. So let me show you the difference by coming over here into my project. So where I've recorded these vocals, let's look at these to start with. So these are an audio recording where I've recorded the vocals in. If we tap this and we go to settings, you'll see here that we have gain, we have speed, so we can speed them up and slow them down, and then we have looping and we have follow, tempo and pitch and reverse. The difference between that and something that's an Apple loop, so if we look at this this beat here, we can actually go to settings and we can actually transpose it. So yeah, you have the ability, if they're Apple loops, then they have built-in beat matching and pitch shifting capabilities. If they're not Apple loops, if they're your own audio recordings, or where's the one we imported? or ones that you import yourself from another source, you'll notice you have very limited options on those ones. You don't have the ability to do that same stuff. So, yeah, I know it sucks. It would be good if it had built-in pitch shifting and capabilities like that. All right, we're going to have to do some turbo time because we've got 20 minutes left, and I'm cramping in the ribs, and my mousing arm is getting RSI. So I definitely need to go and get some cardio going on and do my thing. Chelsea Cotton, good to see you here. Thank you here. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your support as well. And if anyone does want to support the channel, ways to do that are over at studiolivetoday.com. The best way you can support me right now is to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because this is video one of a massive weekend. I'll tell you at the end of this show what we got coming up, because it's going to be huge. Let's see. Let's jump on down. I think I saw another question. No, we're good. Jade talking about the 3 tracks for guitars said, yep, 1 in the center and 2 pan left and right, with different sound. And that's the key thing about when you're using a wall of guitars type sound, you do want to be able to have different sounds. You want them to be different sounds with different EQs so that they create that wall of guitar. If they're all the same guitars with the same amp settings, the same EQ, they're going to blend together. You might as well just play it once. But if you're doubling or tripling guitars, then you want them to sound different. Alrighty, we'll see if we've got any more questions here. You can tell my voice is going a little bit. And yes, as Jade says, it doesn't hurt to smash the like. If you smash it 3 times, that'll turn on, off, on. Yeah, 3 times is fine. And if you do want to get more behind the scenes stuff and see how I do all the things I do, how I use StreamYard, how I create things, I do share a lot more of that behind the scenes stuff with my patrons over on patreon.com. So please feel free to join me over there. Bridget, in relation to the folders, my folders are a mess. Looking forward to applying panning. There you go. A couple of tips. You got your folders and you got your panning tips ready to go. Let's see. Thirds and fifths are a great way to start. Absolutely. What we were talking about before. When I was saying CEG, Siri popped in. Sorry. I won't say... No, I won't do it. I was going to be mean and troll you all if you have Siri and make it pop up, but then you might leave the stream in absolute chaos. 8 a.m. theory class. Learn how to sleep with my eyes open. Yeah, music theory should be fun. It shouldn't be the drag that sometimes it can be made out to be. And there's Dan Baker's channel. Thank you, Jade. Please do go over and subscribe to Dan. There is the multi-track video, and there is my gear recommendations. They'll all be down the gear recommendations are down in the description as well. Amanda Johnson, hello to you. How do I get my interface to pop up? It was previously, but no longer pops up in the MIDI section. So your interface in the MIDI section? I'm not sure. Unless you're on a Mac. So I'm showing GarageBand iOS stuff here. So because we're low on time, I'm not 100% sure on that. I would recommend jumping over to the GarageBand users Facebook group, providing some details, maybe some screenshots of what's going on. I'm sure one of the expert folks over there is going to be able to help you out. So please go on and jump over there. Hello, Spot 11. What's good? You know what? Everything's good. Everything's pretty good at the moment. Everything's ticking along. You know, some things are better than others on different days, but, you know, it's a Friday morning here in sunny Adelaide, South Australia. I'm going to finish off this stream, have me some lunch, go for a walk outside and get some fresh air. So things are good. And GarageBand is good too. And it's always great hanging out and chatting with you folks. So thank you for your time and support. Question, have you used the iConnect MIDI kit? I haven't. Let's see what the iConnect MIDI kit actually is, because I've heard of, I know the iConnect. We'll do a quick Amazon search. iConnect MIDI kit. Because I don't know what it is. Is it the iConnectivity MIDI kit? I'm not sure. So I haven't tried this. My general advice with MIDI is to go with something like from Korg or from Yamaha or from Roland. The cheap MIDI adapters sometimes work, sometimes don't. In fact, I've got a couple of cheaper MIDI adapters that I'm actually testing out at the moment, and I'll probably test those in the next week over on my Patreon channel, because that's where I tend to kind of try out new stuff that I'm not quite sure will make the channel, but I do have a couple that do look pretty good, and they're pretty affordable. So I've got a MIDI to USB-C adapter and a MIDI to USB-A adapter, so I'll be trying those out. And I've always been keen to see if this wireless MIDI actually does work the way it says it works. I have my doubts, But yeah, so no. Short answer to that one is no. Let's see. We've got any more final questions. We are going towards the end of it. Victor says, helped a lot, thank you. By the way, while trying to figure out the multi-track, I found out that Cubase lets you assign a MIDI interface to every MIDI track. That means you can also record multiple MIDI tracks. Yeah, I learnt that as well when I was checking out Cubase, and I think Auria Pro is the same. GarageBand is the only one, apparently, who doesn't respect you enough to let you select multiple MIDI channels. Everything just gets bumped into one, which is a bit sad. Let's see if we got anyone. Darren Anderson checking in. Hope you are doing well, my friend, from up there in Queensland. Hope it's well in Queensland. Beautiful one day, perfect the next. Does anyone still say that? I don't know. Maybe. Deep Gravity says there is an Apple AUV3 plugin that allows you to shift the pitch or octave. Yeah, maybe. Maybe there is. Jade's talking about her deliveries coming in. Yeah, I haven't played around much with the pitch shifting and the octave shifting. I know Jade did some videos on some vocal plugins recently. So Jade, if you've done one of those and you have one handy, maybe drop that down because folks seem to be interested in that. Question from Chelsea. Any tips for recording live drums on GarageBand? So, I mean, the tips for recording live drums on GarageBand are pretty much the tips for recording live drums on anything. And I'm not a pro. I'm going to admit it right up front that I've never recorded live drums. I don't think ever. Maybe in the 90s was about the last time I recorded live drums. And that was someone else engineering it and just my drummer playing the drums and me observing how it all worked. But like anything, you want to work on your mic position, and a lot of it comes down to trial and error. If you've only got one mic or two mics, find the best position for them that gives you the best sound. If you've got four mics, you can look at the different sort of miking techniques called like the Glenn Johns technique and the Mixerman technique. So depending on how many mics you have, where you put them on the kick, the snare, the overheads, the room mic, the hi-hat, it all just depends. So in terms of the actual recording, it's just like recording multiple guitars, multiple vocals, multiple anything. Just make sure that you have a good quality multi-channel interface and that you have enough space. The problem with multi-tracking is generally down to storage and the fact that if you've got an older iPad or iPhone and you're using GarageBand, or an older Mac if you're using GarageBand Mac, then the problem can be that it won't have enough processing power and you'll start getting clicks and pops and dropped little bits of audio because it's trying to do too much at once. So that's my very basic, haven't really done it myself, tips from what I've heard from others on GarageBand drum recording. Hello, Gary, who's back from kid running around duties. Good to have you back on board, my friend. And yes, beautiful one day, perfect. Your avatar definitely looks like that, Darren. I want to go play some guitar outside. That looks like a lot of fun. All right. Spot 11, can I use my iPad as a sound module for my MPC Live? You know who the dude to ask about MPC Live and integrating with things is? Oh no, I've spaced on his name. I interviewed him. Matt. What is your name? I'm going to have to look him up. This is really sad. I'm so sorry. Matthew. What's your name, Matthew? I'll find it because I'll be able to search my archives. I interviewed the dude, and he's a really good guy, and he's a pro in MPC Live. So you need to check him out. Peter John Matthew. What was his name? I can't. Oh no, this is just terrible. Not Peter Johns. We want Pete Johns. Sorry. We'll get there. Hey, Matthew Stratton. Okay, got there in the end. It is Matthew Stratton, and if you want to, just search my name, Peter Johns Matthew Stratton, and you'll find my interview with him where he talked about the MPC Live and creating with the MPC. We're watching it apparently. There we are. There's me. There's me with Matthew, who I feel terrible now that I've forgotten his name and couldn't actually think of his name. But Matthew Stratton, he's got a YouTube channel. There he is. See, I'm doing him so many disservices now. I'm like that's what you do, Pete. But let's bring up his channel. Let's show him some love here because he has a very cool YouTube channel. We'll bring it up over here. Everything's very slow today. I think it's like you've been doing too much. So there he is, Matthew Stratton, weekly video tips to help you create music, and you can see he's got the MPC Live right there in his little album art, little channel art there, so you know that he's all about it. So go over and check out Matthew Stratton. All right. All right, the last 10 minutes that we're in here, I'm gonna pack up and we'll have a little bit of a chat. If you have a final question while I pack up and while I tell you about what's going on here on the channel this weekend, just throw any final question or comments there. And thank you, Jade has come to my rescue again and has thrown the link there. So I'll have a quick drink and then we'll have a quick sign off here. So thank you so much. I know many of you have been listening to me rant on and off for the last 4 hours. I was lucky enough to be on Jade's channel. Jade, if you can throw a link to that rant for folks that missed that one, it was a really good time. Where Jade and I chatted about all things. We chatted about the music industry, about streaming, about gear acquisition syndrome, the new Macs, everything in between, and it was a heck of a lot of fun. So thank you to Jade for having me. Always a pleasure to be on your channel. What have we got coming up on the weekend? Well, tomorrow. We talked about this today on the show as well. We have Your Music Live, which is my show where I showcase your music, and I do it live, hence the name, Your Music Live. So that is coming up early morning for me tomorrow. It'll be in the afternoon, so it's 12 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. So it's your Friday afternoon or Friday evening fun time for folks in the US and in Canada and in the UK. And if you're in Asia or Australia or other places, yeah, it's a bit of an early morning. So you're going to have to get up early to catch Your Music Live. But it's a lot of fun, an hour and a half to 2 hours, and we listen to contributions from the community. So folks who have actually sent me an email, and if you do want to get involved, you just need to email me, pete@studiolivetoday.com, put YML in the subject, give me the link and 1 or 2 sentences about your song. Send it once. Don't jump into the channel the day and spam, because it's not going to work that way, as Jade and I discussed today. But that'll be happening tomorrow. And then we've got Sunday. We've got Home Studio Q&A on Sunday, followed by Jay doing a live show. And then I'm doing my happy hour, which will be a by request busking style happy hour. So we'll be jumping into that. We've then got GarageBand Weekly, which happens on a Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening for most of you folks, Monday morning, Australia time. And this week, we're talking all things Mac, because we have Patrick from the GarageBand Guide as a special guest on GarageBand Weekly, which should be a heck of a lot of fun. And then next week, I've got a very special interview with Jakob Hack of Hack Attack, all about his music creation and the brand new iOS synth that he has just developed and launched. And that'll be a heck of a lot of fun as well. So no shortage of stuff coming up here. If you want to learn about all of it, head over to studiolivetoday.com. If you subscribe to the channel and you turn on the notifications, you'll get notified every time I'm live, and you'll have no problems in the world apart from that. Hello, Sion. Yo, there was a show today. I only do this about once a month. It's the GarageBand Help Desk. It's just when I know that a lot of folks ask me questions about GarageBand, and I don't always have the time and the ability to answer them, even in the Q&A show. So I wanted to make sure that we had some special GarageBand only time. There is the rant that went down. I did say the F word once. So if you've never heard me swear, I think I had 2 S's and 1 F-bomb. So because I don't swear on this channel, if you ever wanted a little bit more of an unfiltered listen, go over there. I think you have to make it to about 40 minutes in before you get to it, but feel free to do that. And yes, Jade, you do have the fastest links in the West. Absolutely. Or in the East, or wherever you are. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to have to make a run for it. Thank you to everyone. Let's just do a quick roll call and see if I can just grab everyone that was here today. I'll miss some people, so I apologize. But thank you, Jade. Thank you, Bridget, Deep Gravity, SM Borthwick. Russ was here. Sion made an appearance towards the end. Ed Zelinsky, thank you for being here. Chelsea Cotton, Darren Anderson, Spot 11, Scott, Gary Hubbs, Entertainment Movie TV. Hi, missed you at the time. Tom Richel was here. Darren Anderson, Redacted. Juan Dillions, Victor Isbells, Bubba. We've got a lot more people. I'm sorry, I'm going to miss everyone. You don't want to spend the next 5 minutes me reading out names. But thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your support. Hopefully, I'll catch you again tomorrow on Your Music Live. Always have a lot of fun on that one. I'm off to go and enjoy some sunshine, get some exercise, have some lunch, and take a little time out. Because remember what I always say, look after yourself, look after other folks, and keep creating. Keep creating in GarageBand. Hope you learned something today, folks, and had some fun. See you again.